We have Mr. Guruprasad Mandrawadkar, Head of Data Science, HDFC Limited, and Mr. Asim Parashar, Partner, PwC. Let's welcome them, please. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. We'd like to leave the session to your expertise.
Thank you. And Guru, welcome. Just to start with, we were 4 panelists. Now we are 2. So if I could have predicted that, then that would have been really helpful. Because we have to now augment ourselves and assist how to handle this part.
We have to generate more content now.
More content, yeah. That's fine. One of the questions in the last panel was asked that we have talked about technology and particularly AI, ML, data science, analytics, etc. Reach was one of the issue. Convenience and experience was the second one. The most important question which was asked at the end, has it benefited the customer? Has the price of any of the products, whether it is lending or maybe the insurance part of it, has it really benefited the customer? So that is something which is still, the jury is out, and all of us sitting here, we know that our interactions with the banks and financial institutions have improved from the convenience perspective, but on the product pricing, etc., still there are questions. And one of the other things which Mr. Ganesh Kumar in his inaugural address talked about, a lot of parts of AI and different definitions of the AI. One of the things which is an old saying, and we used to kind of refer to it, so data is information, information is knowledge, and knowledge is power. That used to be the saying which goes long. And I have just added to that, and power corrupts men and women. I have to add that part of it now. So is that right or not? So these are some of the topics which we'll look into it with real life examples, because the context has been set. So Guru, starting with you, and we have talked about open banking. So we have open banking and we have AI, and that too also generative AI, and then the future. So these are the 3 things which we are going to address. So Guru, starting with you, open banking has been there for almost a decade in some form or the other.
Absolutely.
Has it really benefited the FS sector, all the stakeholders in the FS sector, starting from customer, regulator, the banks, financial institutions?
Yeah, that's pretty much, Asim, as you said, open banking has been there for last about 8-10 years. If you really want to understand what impact open banking has done, we cannot look at only one lens. We'll have to look at multiple lenses. The first lens that I would traditionally look at is how the business model has evolved over a period of time. Has it remained the same traditional banking model which was there, or has it been moved to an innovative open banking-based system? The answer to that is yes. The second is in terms of how the products have been formed right now. The products now, right now, if you look at it, they're more evolving rather than a fixed product that you're developing earlier. The third way of looking within the business model is basically, if you look at the view which organizations or banks had, it was earlier an inside-out view, but now typically people are looking at outside-in view. That's the first impact in which, at a core level, which basically has impacted open banking. If I want to look at the second lens through which I would want to understand how much impact open banking has made, the second lens I would look at it basically is, let's look at some key metrics. Within open banking, today we have close to about 20 to 22% growth from an UPI payment perspective. So that's a big growth. And today, what if I look at some research papers, typically the numbers are between 14 to 15 billion is what people are talking about. That's the growth of UPI transaction that we're looking at. Now, if I want to look at a metric itself, the biggest change agent which has brought in to us is BNPL. BNPL is buy now, pay later. Buy now, pay later has made such a significant impact that you look at any, it's been getting implemented in, let's say, booking a flight ticket, booking a holiday package, booking, let's say, meals and so on. So BNPL is getting there. Of course, there are advantages, disadvantages to that. Again, looking at a metrics lens, if I look at the percentage of UPI transactions that have been done, out of all the retail transactions, close to about 94% of those transactions are done by only three companies: PhonePe, Google Pay, and then Paytm. PhonePe basically takes close to about 46% of those transactions. Now, this has evolved over a period of time, and we are talking about millions of transactions, and those things are higher. The last but not the next one is like, if you look at funding also, funding has been increasing. Recently, 2 days back, Asim, if you had seen, Parashar raised 229 million in Series D funding. So that's a big number. That's not a small number. Even the way partnerships are building. Let me give an example. All of you have been students in your life. Some of you would have gone to some foreign universities to get your degrees. The process now is so simplified. If I talk about a company called Cash Free, and frankly speaking, I don't know how cash can be free, but yeah, that's the name of the company. Cash Free has tied up with Jamboree. Jamboree is a 1993-based, Delhi-based company which was only focusing on doing certification preparations, assisting students to do their GMAT, TOEFL, and so on. Now, that company has now tied up with Cash Free. What is the salient feature of this? Any student who would want to go for a foreign education, the KYC process. The KYC process has been streamlined. So now this is all part of open banking. I'm talking about the impact open banking is making. It is looking at a grassroots level right from education. The second thing is remittances. If a parent typically would, if let's say we're talking about a 2-year MS degree, parent would typically plan the funds. Ki nahi yaar, abhi thoda sa forex has come down, so why not send some funds? But every remittance has a forex to it. Now what Cash Free has done is, Cash Free has enabled that remittances within the liberalized scheme of RBI, wherein all the remittances, LRS that we call, liberalized remittances scheme. So within those things, the remittances are also with there, and there is a possibility of reducing on Forex. So I'll just stop here. I think some of the impacts which I thought I should raise.
So Guru, let me take a contrarian view out here. So you gave good examples, and I agree that these have brought a lot of good things in the customer's life. But when I look at the pure play banking, and the lending and the deposit part of it, the corporate customers get the best rates on the deposits. They get the best rates on the loans. Whereas the SME segment or the MSME segment, they get the, not the worst rate, but definitely the worst rates, both on the deposits and on the lending side of it. Now you have all these ecosystem, APIs, unstructured data, aggregator model, account, etc. Everything has come in. The infrastructure is in place, but the lending still is at 24%. The NPAs are also now higher on the corporate side of it in the last few years. So every parameter, when I look at it, the customer who needs it most gets the worst. The customer who needs the less, who can do a shopping across the banking industry, gets the best rate. And I'm still confused from that perspective, because I take this side, I talk to my SME clients, etc. And they say, yeah, everything is fine. I have a mobile banking, I have this. But every time there are so many documents, this, that, and finally I have to agree whatever is the term. So why are banks or the financial institutions not leveraging these ML models or AI models or any models, whatever, LLM, and we can keep on talking about these models and do something for that? No, I know I'm putting you in a difficult spot.
No, Asim, that's an interesting question. And frankly speaking, RBI is there to solve your confusion. I don't know how many of you know RBI has an innovation hub in Bangalore, and there is a tech sprint right now in 2023. It's called Swaneri, SWANARI. Now just understand, it's very interesting. The target audience is SME. Not only an SME, a woman SME. It could be a roadside idli dosa seller. It could be a roadside bangle seller, it could be anybody. The ticket size, 50,000 to 10 lakh, that's the ticket size. What RBI Innovation Hub is helping this ecosystem of MSMEs is how you can get credit using alternate data. I hope that should solve your confusion, Asim, because,
sure.
And when I say alternate data, just last key point is it's about your utility bill payment, it's about UPI transactions and so on.
So convenience is fine. So we have 6 minutes, so we'll move to the AI part of it. And and as we saw in the earlier panel, so there are 3 structures or layers which they were talking. So first one is your data infrastructure, which most of the banks currently have it. The second is your data science and the analytics, which you kind of represent. And then the next layer is the chief AI officer, or someday we'll start hearing that. The question is that, is it going to have a substantial impact on the financial services industry? Is it going to disrupt, or the banks, what they are in this shape for the last so many thousand years, will they stay like this, or something is going to drastically change? And the reasons why I'm asking this, because you all banks have the same data. It's the same structured data in the core banking, in the loan management system. You ask the same KYC data. So there is, the correlation of this data is very high.
Yes.
And so how are you going to create models, or how your models are going to learn? Because the behavioral aspect of it we never take into consideration. We talk about behavioral economics, we talk about behavioral aspect of an individual. If I am bald, then I'm more prone to pay back, or I am not bald, then I will not pay, or something. So there are so many parameters and variables which are available there, but they are very tightly correlated in the industry now. So that is a conundrum for me, but you being a data science lead for a leading private sector bank, so help me to understand that what are your thoughts on this and how you are thinking to solve this problem.
And I believe we are restricted to Gen AI, generative AI.
Generative AI, yes. Let's take it from there.
Yes. So I'll talk non-FS, and see, generative AI, Asim, to my mind, you would also agree that this is not started in 2022, November 2022, after the announcement by Microsoft. Let me give an example. I don't know if you have watched the movie called Morgan. This is 7-8 years back. The trailer of that movie is about 2 minutes, 10 seconds or something. That was generated artificially. Can you beat that? How it was generated? It was a horror movie. So what, if I'm not wrong, this is Fox Movies. So they took close to about 200 odd movies, the trailers of those 200 odd movies, and then they trained the model to create that trailer. Now coming back to FS, of course, generative AI, slowly and steadily, any form of AI is going to get embedded into any product that you're seeing, and you will not even realize that that is there. For example, today if you see, there is a product called KAI.GPT. What KAI.GPT does is, it basically helps to use generative AI to solve, or rather to get into decision making using customer unstructured data. Whenever anybody talks of Gen AI, please remember it is always unstructured, because for structured, we already spoke, Karthik spoke about how propensity models can be built, how underwriting models can be built. But Gen AI is basically even helping legal teams to basically go through reams and reams of pages and ask help to get questions. So in a way, Asim, I don't know if I have answered your question, but to my mind, I think...
No, so I agree, and you are right. So Gen AI helps. For example, we used to run anti-money laundering check every night. It used to take sometimes 24 hours to arrive at that. And with the compute power available and the LLM model available, we can still do it in maybe half an hour or 1 hour, we can get there. So those are the benefits that we definitely see. But there are few questions which, as an audience and as part of the industry, you should definitely take it. We have seen the Minority Report of Tom Cruise. You remember? It used to predict before the event happened, and then you stop that event. The worry is the kind of data that we are using it, and somebody applies for a loan, and somebody in the earlier panel talked that credit underwriting, it can be used to do that. Both structured, unstructured, and take it there. And he may not have the propensity at this moment to pay due to some reasons in his life and etc. But he definitely needs that loan to rebuild or build on the top of it. He will never get loan because the LLM will always predict that this individual is not in the good credit part of it. And these are the biases, very difficult to remove, because that's the way we have been doing it. Now, do we have the answers to these questions? Because the use cases that was discussed earlier, and what I have been observing and talking to my clients in India and abroad, is that I can churn data, I can compute, and I have immense power to do that part of it. But the biases are very difficult to do that. And will it keep us on the people who are at the margin of the society, in the lending or in the financial services? Will they remain like this? That is something which very difficult to predict for the future, but again, your take on it, Guru, will be really helpful.
From a Gen AI perspective, from data points, the biggest worry that I have, not one, two, one is the hallucination effect. You have an input data. The output, whenever the Gen AI is computing it, for example, you ask me what breakfast should I eat, and the output could be a stone. This is a hallucination of the model. I have never inputted a stone as a breakfast to my model, but the output has come as stone. That is my first biggest worry. The second biggest worry, and since we are also in cybersecurity area, and today I should touch base upon that, Asim, is there will be people who are going to find loopholes in the Gen AI component. Today, there are very few companies, for example, KI.GPT, which I was mentioning, they have come out with private LLM models, but still you will have somebody in an organization trying to take some grievance data, Karthik was talking about grievance data, or some financial transactions, GSTs, GST certificates and ITRs and everything, trying to put that into a Gen AI model and trying to do something, and then suddenly all the data is boom, out. That is my second worry. I think, I hope I have answered your question, Asim, and I don't know if audience...
Thanks, Guru.
Yeah.
And it shows time is up. So only thing for you audience, because you will be participating or would have participated in various events on AI, technical things, they will talk about it. But as part of the industry, only submission is that when you interact, always keep in mind there is a good part of it, and then there are certain concerns which we always have to know and follow that how these organizations are shaping up. The industry body, the large IT industry honchos have met yesterday in US with the Senate and etc., and they are also trying to figure that out. Because it's a lot of concern. So whether the benefits are more or the concerns are more, that is something it is out for jury. But thank you for a patient listening, and hope you have a nice few further sessions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being a good audience.